through the course of the 1997 road to the Final Four includes Austin Crozier, 39 points, the most scored by a player. Ewan Garris, who'll be on display later today against Tennessee Chattanooga. He has been outstanding and is sure to throw a few Sunday dishes our way in game number 2. With George Raveling, Tim Brando, happy to be with you from Charlotte, North Carolina. Providence, a team that generally only plays 7, really having to exhaust all of its options from the bench today due to foul problems. And Austin Crozier out of the timeout on the floor with 11.5 to play. Thomas gets the roll. 15 for Jamel Thomas.
Well, I'm not sure if it's legal to gamble in the state of North Carolina or not, but Pete Gillen is playing a high-stakes form of gambling, Tim.
Shamgod in the air to Brown. Sham with a beautiful pass. He makes so many of them in the air, an area where most coaches are concerned when a guard puts himself off the floor into what is known as no man's land. He seemingly always has an answer. 7 assists for him by Shamgod.
As we sit here, Derek Brown is turning the Charlotte Coliseum into his personal playground.
McLeod off a nice dish with the shot clock winding down. Roshan has 15, and he, by the way, playing with 4 for the Blue Devils. 65-62. Shamgod stop and go and deliver.
And what set that move up was the hesitation dribble. When he hesitated, he brought the defensive man out of his stance. As soon as he started to rise, Shamgod put his ball down and went.
Capel. Yes, and a foul. One tremendous play after another by the guards of these two teams.
Here's a penetration move by Shamgod. He brings 2 players to him, and as soon as he saw the 2 players come to him, he immediately had the presence of mind to know where the open man is. Here he just blows by McLeod. He knows McLeod's in foul trouble, and McLeod's at his mercy.
Capel's first points of the second half. 67-65. Game beginning to settle down at crunch time into half-court defensive sets.
And this Duke crowd is on its feet. Possession, Duke went to a 2-3 zone to protect themselves against foul trouble.
You could sense the Blue Devil faithful felt that was an important possession, and Providence won out. Rice can't come up with it. Derek Brown playing with a tremendous sense of purpose. Turns it over this time. He has 10 rebounds in this game, does Derek Brown. Now Chappelle will come back into the game, and Ricky Price will take a seat. This is an emotional Providence team, playing not only with great emotion today, George, but playing smart, understanding the foul problems that they have.
I talked to the Providence radio announcer, and he told me the last game was the best game they had played all season long, and they're building on that, Tim.
McLeod may have just fouled out. That's his 5th. He went up the back.
And with his exit goes Duke's major rebounder. Shot goes up. Austin Crozier blocks him out. He reaches over top. I did not see a foul on that particular play, but the official did, and that's a heck of a lot more important than me seeing it.
15 points and 5 rebounds for McLeod as he's forced to exit. Seriously reducing the options for Coach K. We touched on Crozier and Shamgod, but for Coach K, so few answers at 6'8" or taller for his team.
Let's see if we can detect the foul. Maybe he was calling the arm up on Crozier's back.
Yeah.
That's the only thing it could have been.
The push actually before Rashawn was airborne.
It's an old rattling move. I used to use that in the playgrounds.
Carrawell has come in for him, Chris Carrawell. 9+ minutes remaining. Flyers up by 5. Crozier off the ball, trying to free himself. Now has it. Quickly doubled. Corey Wright floats to the lane. Off the glass. Oh, he has 4. And these possessions get even bigger as the Providence lead grows larger.
The storyline here for Providence is their 2-point guard offense.
Wojciechowski. Coach K wanted a foul that time. It wasn't coming from Ed Hightower. Shamgod out of bounds. Last touch by Carrawell. Mike Krzyzewski really working Ed Hightower over.
Shamgod is almost an impossible player to defense, and the same will hold true for Corey Wright as he goes in and he uses good body language to hold himself in the air as the defender goes by and he drops it in the cylinder.
Shamgod into the double team. Wojciechowski comes away with it to Langdon. Capel for 3. The senior who's been winning a comeback award from the student body at Cameron Indoor all season long just made a critical trifecta.
What Providence needs to do now is make 4 or 5 passes on offense and rest on offense. This team's beginning to tire. They need to rest on offense.
Shot clock at 10. Corey Wright will spread the floor. Over Wojo. Run down by Duke. Wojciechowski coming back the other way. Capel wants it. That's why. He's taking over, and here come the Duke faithful.
Offensive players are forced to make a quick analysis of what's going on the floor. In this case, a quick read by Jeff Capel. He sees that he has Austin Crozier on him. He takes him to the hole, and he makes him make a difficult decision. Are you going to let me score, or are you going to commit your 5th foul?
72-70. Pete Gillen taking his own timeout. When on the next dead ball, he would have had a TV timeout. Crozier knocks it down. He has 17. Pete's defense obviously would be Duke was in the midst of a run. He wanted to get the crowd out of the game. Capel, a leaner. Seniors never want to play their final game this early in March. And Capel is proof of that today. Taking over again, just as he did in the early portion of the second half against Murray State on Friday night. A reach-in foul against Wojciechowski.
What happens on this particular play is Providence forces a mismatch as Shamgard was smart enough to go wide and force Capel to play him, and that placed Wojo on a 6'9" player. And because of the aggressive nature he plays defense, he fouled him.
Capel leaning in. Boy, both driving to the basket as well as pulling up. He's getting it done. Now, Wojo, having picked up his 4th, now has to sit with Coach K.
And Duke is taking the ball to the basket and exploiting the fact that Austin Crozier has 4 because he's their basket protector.
Boy, Brown kept it alive again off of Providence. And the Friars can't believe it. I think Brown had a point. I think it may have deflected off Duke. They are livid over there. 6:19 and counting. One thing's for certain, foul trouble has not stymied the ebb and flow of this game, George. I mean, it's just as exciting now as it was earlier. Langdon. Crozier brings it down.
You make an excellent point, Tim, because time and time again in a game that's marred with a lot of fouls, the ebb and flow of the game ruined the game. It certainly has not interrupted this game. Excellent point.
Crozier trying to work pick and roll. Blue Devils with an excellent show. Crozier on his own. Side of the backboard. Stripped by Langdon as Thomas. Blue Devils coming back the other way. Carrawell. Excellent adjustment in midair. We're tied at 74.
Providence is hanging on for dear life. They are on a life support system. Watch them go back on defense. They have very little legs left.
Crozier. The bank is open for him on Sunday. 19 and playing with 4 fouls. The offensive boards big for Providence. That time they closed down on the smaller Duke 5. With 1 and out in that trip.
From here on out, both point guards must understand that the game is played based on time and score. How much time is left on the clock? What's the score? That will dictate how the game is played from here on out.
Nice lob into Thomas. And an even better pass to Derek Brown. What a read.
Providence is at the top of their game at both ends of the floor. I'm not sure this Providence team can play any better than they're playing right now.
Timeout, Duke. You talk about some quality dishes. Take a look at these.
But it's 2 great passes. A nice lob pass with a good lead on it. Good read, no look pass to Derek Brown for the easy basket.
It can't get any better in Charlotte. These are the things you need to know with 4:06 remaining. The foul difficulty, Crozier, Murdoch, McLeod out of the game, Wojciechowski having to sit. The timeouts remaining, Duke with a 20 and a full. Providence using theirs, one of them by Gillen prior to a TV timeout zone. He might wish that he had not stemmed that Duke run that cut it to 2 moments ago. Carrawell now on the floor with the loss of Roshan McLeod. Tim Brando, George Raveling, and when we say happy to be with you, we mean it today.
I'm ecstatic.
Turnover by Duke. Wojo comes up gimpy. Shamgar. Oh, yes, and a foul. God getting it done on Sunday.
Tim, I clearly understand now why Providence coach Pete Gillen said that Derek Brown is their MVP. He's just tearing them up. Shamgar on the circus-like move to the basket. And what made that basket was that Shamgar drew contact and was able to score after the contact.
Wojciechowski still not at 100%, but you know that this young man will gut it out. Capel now moves to the point for him and works on Shamgar.
When you play on the playgrounds in New York, you welcome contact. You can't get on if you can't accept contact.
Capel picking up the foul as he takes it into the lane.
Here we sit with 3:31 to go, and Pete Gillen has no timeouts left. It really places him at an at-risk position as he tries to administer the remaining 3:31 of this game.
Shamgar got the foul, his 4th, with 3:31 to play. Oh, we pointed out that Duke had a run, cut a 7-point lead to 2. He felt he needed to stop the run, do a little damage control, but in so doing, perhaps not realizing the next dead ball was a TV timeout. You know he'd love to have that right here.
That's the responsibility of his assistant coaches. They should be on top of that and communicate with Pete and tell him those type of things.
7-0 run for Providence comes to a halt after the free throw. Brown quickly to Thomas. They are just so quick. 17 for Jamel Thomas. 29 for Derek Brown. Langdon leans in. Loose ball, Thomas clears.
This is a great opportunity for Providence to get some rest on offense. You get 4 or 5 passes and rest your legs a little bit. Don't rush. You've got a substantial lead here. They've got to come to you.
Well, Dillon won't have to worry about the timeout story if this run continues, and it does. Tying a career high. Brown has 29 points. He's 2 shy of a career high. Carrawell. Timeout, Duke, the 22nd timeout.
What's happening now is that Providence has such great spacing in their offense that they're creating gaps. Now here's the kick out. They catch Duke's defense in transition. Nice cross-court pass. Duke is slow getting back on defense. As he lays the ball up, one Duke defender's still not across half court.
That happened in 2 sequences back-to-back, and that's just a rarity for a Mike Krzyzewski coached club.
Well, neither team has a real deep bench, and at this late stage of the game, both teams are playing with heavy legs.
A number 2 seed really up against it now against 10th seeded Providence. Shamgar runs right into Langdon, trying to induce a 5th foul. Brown out to Crozier. Price with the rebound for the Blue Devils.
One thing I really respect about Providence is they're playing to win. They're not playing to keep from getting beat.
Harrell. Nice scoop to the hoop by Chris, the freshman from St. Louis, getting an indoctrination today. 85-79.
So often in a situation like this, there's a temptation to play to keep from getting beat. Providence is maintaining its aggressive offensive posture.
They have the entire game with Shamgar and Crozier in foul difficulty.
Well, they're going to get a few touches here. They can afford to take a little time off the clock now.
Look at that pass to Corey Wright. And upon getting it back, the foul against Langdon.
Tim, have you seen a team that it passes the ball better in the interior than this Providence team?
Well, you know, Crozier, I think, helps make it happen. He sees over so much.
Yeah, because of his size, and Duke is trapping Crozier with 6'4" players, and he's 6'9". He can see right over the trap, and he sees the open man. He gets the ball to him.
Right with 4 points. That's really not indicative, though, of how much he's meant to this team today. When you think about it, the ability to get him in to help guard Shamgar when he got the early foul trouble really benefiting this team, as it did against Marquette. Now, Crozier leads with 4, and Murdoch comes in again, a defensive for offensive substitution.
Well, if you could give 2 awards to the Providence team for MVP, certainly Derek Brown would get 1, but this little youngster here on the line, Corey Wright, certainly would be a strong consideration for his 2nd award.
The lead back to 8. 90 seconds and counting for Duke. Capel. Timeout, Blue Devils. 87-81, a 2-possession game when we return to Charlotte. It won't be long before we select a genuine Chevrolet Most Valuable Player of the game for each team. To date, Chevrolet contributed almost $6.5 million to scholarship funds of America's colleges and universities. Minute 20. Timeouts have been exhausted for both teams.
And I hope both coaches reminded their players that they have no timeouts left.
That's one way of stopping the clock, not allowing Brown to get to the line. Capel picks up the foul, his fourth. What a performance we've seen by both teams today. Brown having a real coming out party, just 2 points shy of his career high. The offensive board's really the key to this game, and the turnovers that Duke created allowed them the opportunity to get out to a quick start. And all of that negated by Providence's superior play in the low post.
And also it's outstanding defense. I honestly believe that despite the fact that they've done a great job offensively, their offense is fed off of their defense.
This is for a career-high 31 for Brown, tying a previous high.
Tim, we expected Crozier, but we didn't expect Brown to step up this big.
Wojciechowski. Farewell. And Crozier. Maybe with closure in that possession. This is a team that took extreme criticism, the Providence Friars, from many of their fans in Rhode Island. Expected to win the Big East, coming away at only 10-8, trying to live up to expectations set 10 years ago. We mentioned it the other night. Truly, Pete Gillen, with that first tournament win since Pitino's run in '87, exercising a ghost of Christmas past.
Tim, the day before Providence's first game, as we rode over in the car, I said to you, I said, Brando, I think that Providence is going to play very well here because they're away from New York, they're away from Providence, they're away from the hanger-ons and the negative comments.
And Pete Gillen had the one-liners yesterday. He got the three-point shots today. This equals the largest lead for Providence at 10, 91-81. With only a minute remaining, and Duke cannot stop the clock.
Nice defensive wrinkle by Pete Gillen not to allow Duke to walk into his offense, a speed dribble into his offense.
Further proof of the rebounding pluses for Providence. Brown, an exclamation point. He's in the 1,000-point club because of today's performance. He has a career high off today's performance, and now a chance to settle into the Sweet 16. No stop in Duke, though.
The problem for Mike Krzyzewski and Duke is they're out of timeout, so they cannot stop the clock. They're at the mercy of the ebb and flow of the game.
And Hightower now getting involved. He nearly teed Jamel Thomas. In fact, he was poised to deliver a technical foul.
And he should have. He should have. At this point in the game, accept your victory in a graceful manner.
And Mike Krzyzewski's really a little upset that Ed didn't blow the whistle. And truly, he was poised when he was in a technical position, and yet did not blow the whistle. Hoping that cooler heads may prevail. '85-87. Blue Devils trailing. As you look at our Chevrolet players of the game, Derek Brown, a double-double, and Jeff Capel doing all that he could for his team as he now leaves the game. On the floor where he played his final game as a freshman, he'll play his final game as a senior, and there's his father.
Jeff Capel Sr. Jeff Capel Sr. is the head basketball coach at Old Dominion. He's taken his team to 4 of the last 5 NCAA tournaments, and that's with 3 different teams. Old Dominion might have a hard time keeping him there.
Nate James will check into the game with 25.7 remaining.
What a way to get it started. We've got a full day, and as was the case on Saturday with 3 one-point games coming down the stretch, one of them going into overtime. Excitement, and the second number 2 seed to fall in the NCAA tournament, the other being South Carolina. It's on to Birmingham for the Friars, where Rick Pitino beat not only Alabama, but Georgetown in 1987 to take the Friars to the Final Four in New Orleans that year. Well, you think of all of the great moments for Providence in their history, most of them from Ernie D. and Marvin Barnes, Dave Gavitt. 25 years ago, they won here and went on to the Final Four with that team. Shamgar. Crozier brings it down. Boy, did he play within himself with foul trouble today.
He exhibited unusual mental discipline.
The Friars have their ticket punched for Birmingham. The Big East will have a participant in the Sweet 16 yet again. They have had one since 1993, at least one every year since then, and the Friars get it done for them today. 98-87, our final score. For George Raveling, Tim Brando saying so long from Charlotte. Coming up, we'll take you back to our New York studios, Pat O'Brien and Special K, Mike Kellogg.
Sweet 16! Yeah, boy! Sweet 16!
Even to look at the basket.
Michael Ruffin, shot clock running down, but Ruffin is fouled.
Well, one of the other options, plan B, plan C, that Tulsa has to go to, they have to get the ball inside. We talked about the strength of Michael Ruffin and Rafael Maldonado. Michael Ruffin against BU had 14 points and 13 rebounds. He also played a team-high 29 minutes in that game.
A lot of basketball action here on CBS. Pittsburgh underway, Louisville and New Mexico, 6-4 in the first half. We'll be sending some of you there. In Kansas City, they're underway, just underway, and it's 1-0. Tulsa leads Clemson in the first half, obviously. We're going to send you out, for those of you expecting Chattanooga, Illinois, that tip is at 2:56. We're going to start you in Kansas City with Tulsa and Clemson, and we'll do that. Others, we're going to send to Charlotte and Utah. That's at 2:35. We'll do all this after this word from your local station.
Today's college